The very first thing, let me open UiPath Studio. Let's create a new process, and give it some name. So here we would like to learn invoke code. I'll give it a name, select my language as VB, and the compatibility I'll keep it as Windows, and my language will be VB, and I'm going to click on create. And I'm going to click on open workflow, and you can see the designer panel has opened. Now let us drag and drop the invoke code activity. And here you can see the project dependency is only UiPath system.activities I have. The very first code we are going to learn is sum of two numbers. Pretty simple. Let's get back to the UiPath designer panel. Click on edit arguments. Let me expand this particular window. First of all, let us create two arguments. I'll say in underscore num1. The direction has to be in, and here the data type should be integer. And let me provide some value. Let's say 10. This is a in value. Let's click on create argument once again. Create our second variable or argument called in num2. Direction will be the same, in, and the data type should be integer. And let me pass some values. Let's say 5. Hit on enter. And then let us click on create argument once again and create a out variable, out underscore sum. And here the direction has to be changed to out, and the data type has to be integer 32. Here let us create a variable control K, and let me create a variable sum and hit on enter. So the value that comes here will be going to this sum variable, and 10 will go in, means it will go to the num1, 5 will go to the num2, and in the out it will out the value to the variable called sum, and we'll try to print this variable value. Click on OK. Click on edit code. Let me expand it, and let us write the code here. First of all, let's write a comment. I'll say vv.net sum of two numbers. Okay, so what is our very first variable? The output that we like to keep is in out. You can say out underscore. Can you hit on control space? You will get the argument. Okay, let me expand it fully. All right, so now let's write it. Slightly decrease. Okay, so out sum is equals to, I'll say in underscore num1 plus in underscore num2. With that, this in the num1 you will get 10, in the num2 you will get 5. So 10 plus 5, 15 will be in the out sum variable. All I have to do, click on OK here. Now the code has been written. I need to print the code. For that, I'll click on the plus sign, type message box, and in the message box, let us simply print the variable sum. Now let us debug the code or run the code. I'll simply click on debug. All right, so you can see the processing has completed, and I got the output as 15 on my screen. I'm going to click on OK. So the very first exercise is complete. The next goal is to reverse a string using invoke code. For this, we are back to our UiPath designer panel. Let's click on edit arguments. Let's create our very first argument in underscore string. The direction will be in, the type will be string, and let us pass some value to this. I'll say HELLO, hello. And then I will create the next string called out underscore string. And the direction has to be out, and the type has to be string. And let's create a variable by hitting on Control K, and let me give a name called reversed string. Okay, so rev string is my output. Now click on OK. Once you have written these two arguments, let's click on edit code. I'm going to slightly expand this. The very first thing, let us write a comment. So this is about vv.net reverse a string. And here our output variable is out underscore. You can hit on control space and you'll get the variable out string is equal to, I have to use a vv.net function. And the function name is string reverse. If you highlight on this, it tells you returns a string in which the order of the text elements in the specified string is reversed. So this is the function that I have to use. So simply hit on string reverse, and within the parenthesis I have to pass my in underscore string variable. That's it. So with this code, out underscore string is equals to string reverse in string. That's the code. I'm going to click on OK. And let us print the output by hitting on the plus sign and type message box. And here all I have to do, simply print the reverse string variable. That's all. Now let us run this. Let us debug this. Okay, now the process completed. Now here is the message box and you can see HELLO. It has been completely reversed. So with this, our second exercise is complete. The third exercise is to calculate the factorial of a number using invoke code. Now let's see what is a factorial means. For example, I give you a number 5 and I am asking you calculate the factorial. How do you calculate? You simply 5 into 4, you go in the reverse order, 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So when you multiply all this, the output is 120. If I ask you calculate the factorial of 10, how will you calculate? 10 into 9 into 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the output is this. I am on a blank invoke code. Let's click on edit arguments and let us create few arguments here. The first one is I need an input number. So I'll say input number, direction has to be in, and the type has to be integer 32. Let us provide some number, let's say 5. And the next thing I need is a out underscore factorial result. The direction has to be changed to out, the type has to be changed to integer 32, and here let's create a variable called factorial result, and I'm going to click on OK. Let's click on edit code. Let me slightly expand this window. And then the very first thing, let's write a comment about your code. So apostrophes and then write vv.net code to calculate factorial of a number. Fine. Now the very first thing, you need to know how to declare a variable here. So I need a temporary variable. For that I'll say dim result as integer. So I'm going to create a variable called result and I'm going to assign a value called 1. And then I need a loop. So for that I'm writing for loop. So for I as integer is equals to, you have to write your starting point and your end point. So I'll start from 1 to the input number that we have created in the string. So that means if I'm passing 5, it will loop from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So input number has that number 5. So you have to define 1 to what number you would like to loop. And the variable that is going to hold each iteration is I. So first the value of I will be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So this is the loop. This is how you construct a loop. And your loop has to end with something called next. So this is the for each construct. and then inside that you write whatever you want. So what I want result, the result variable that we have created on the top, is equals to result multiplied by I. So when I say multiplied by I, what happens here? So the first value of the result is a temporary variable which is holding 1. So 1 into 1 become 1. So the result value is 1. Now when the next time loop runs, here the result value is 1, but I value is 2. So 1 into 2. Now the result value has become 2. Next time when the loop runs, the result value is 2 into 3. You getting it? Now when the loop runs again, the value is 6. So 6 into, then the next value comes 4. So it is going to multiply each number. Getting it? And after that, I am going to simply use my out variable, out underscore control space is equals to, I am going to pass the value of this temporary variable. So that's about the code. I'm going to click on OK. And here, let's use a message box. In the edit argument, we are passing the output to factorial result. So I'm going to simply write that here, factorial result, and I'll convert it to toString because that is an integer. That's it. Now let us debug the code. Okay. Now you can see the output 120 has come. Click on OK. Let us change the value from 5. I'll make it to 10 and click on OK. Now let us run it. And you can see 36288800 is the output which has come. I'm going to teach you one more thing. Let me click on edit code. And here, instead of me writing like this, result equals to result into 1, there's also another way to write. How you can do in VB.NET is result star equals to I. This is another method. This is exactly the same as result equals to result into I. This is the shortcut way to write result star equals to I. So if I write this, click on OK. Let us pass some number. Instead of, okay, let it be 10. Then let's run it. Okay, you can see the output has come. So with this, we have completed our third exercise. Our fifth exercise is find the largest number in a list using UiPath Invoke Code. For this, the very first thing what I will do, I will drag and drop an assign activity to create a list of numbers. And here, let's create a variable and say input numbers. Hit on enter. Go to the variable panel, and here we have to select the list. So I'll go to browse for types and type list in angular bracket, and here you see list of t has come. I'm going to select integer and click on it. OK. So now it has become a list of numbers. Now what I will do here, I have to declare a list. So how do you create a list? So nowadays in the 2025 version, you can use the AI. So for example, I don't remember the code. I'll say create a list, random list of numbers. And if I hit on this, give it few seconds, it is going to write. Okay, so it has written something else. Let me say declare a random list of numbers. Okay, so let's not use the word random. I'll say declare a list of numbers. Keep it simple. Okay, so you can see it has declared I need few numbers such as 40, 50, 100, Okay, so now you can see it has declared new system collection of generic.list. So it is not required. So I'll simply remove this, the namespace. I'll simply keep it pretty simple. New list of uh, uh, when you can simply say int32 from 40, 50, 100. Okay, this is how the code is. This is also enough. Okay, so now let's write few numbers more. Let's say 80, comma 60, comma 90. So in this, which is the largest number? 100 is the largest number in this list. Correct? I'm going to hit on save. Now the list is created having few numbers. Click on edit argument of the invoke code. And let us create few arguments here. So what I need to first pass this input numbers, right? So I'll say input numbers, and the direction will be in, and type has to be system collection.generic.list. And here my variable, the assign activity which contains this input numbers, I'm going to pass the variable. After that, what I want, I need the output, out underscore, I'll say largest number, and it has to be out, and it has to be integer 32. Let's create a variable, control plus K, and say largest number, hit enter. All right, and click on OK. Now what is the code to find the largest number in using VB.NET? Click on edit code. I'm going to slightly expand this and write my comment, VB.NET code to find largest number. So first of all, let's write the out variable, which is out underscore largest number is equals to, then we have to go with the input. So in underscore input numbers dot max. So the function that I'm going to use here is max, open and close parenthesis, and I'm done. Look at the code, pretty simple code. Out underscore largest number equals to in underscore input number dot max, and I'm going to click on OK. That's it. And then let's print this using a message box. I'm going to say largest number dot toString, and I'm done. Let's save the code, run it. Okay, now you can see out of that entire list, 100 is the largest number which we found. Now with this, our exercise number 4 is complete. Our fifth exercise is create greeting messages based on time using the UiPath Invoke Code activity. So here the exercise is quite simple. You have to write a VB.NET script to generate a greeting message based on the current time. So on my laptop, whatever the time is now, based on that, if it is morning, it should tell me good morning, good afternoon, or good evening based on the current system time. So how to do it? Let's see it. I'm back on my UiPath Studio. The very first thing, let's drag and drop a blank invoke code. And now here, let's create an argument. So what I need is the message. Based on the time, it should give me an output. So the output, I will say greeting message. Okay, and the direction should be out and string, and here I'll say output. So let's create a variable, control K, output greeting message. So I've created a variable called output greeting message. Let's click on OK. Now let me click on edit code, and this is where we will start writing the code. So VB, let's put a comment, VB.NET code for greeting message based on system time. Let us, first of all, we already have a variable. Let's create one more variable called dim, and then let's say current hour as integer equals to, I'll use the date time function dot now dot hour. So what this will do, based on the current system date and time, for example, it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, right? Whatever the time is, it is going to pass it to this variable called current hour. Okay, so once it passes, all I'll do, I'll use some if activities. If current hour is less than 12, so it will come in 24 hours format. For example, it is 4 p.m. then the output should be 16 hours. It will convert itself to, so this one give you output in terms of the 24-hour format. So I'll say if current hour is less than 12, then what I want the out underscore greeting message, right? This should say good morning. Else if let's write current hour is less than 6 o'clock. Okay, if it is less than 6 o'clock, for example, then you say control space equals to, you say good afternoon, for example. You can decide based on the need. So I'm saying less than 18 hours. So less than 6 p.m. you say good afternoon, right? Else you say out underscore control space greeting message is equals to, I am saying good evening. Okay, good afternoon, and I'll say good evening, for example. So these are the three messages I've typed. So what is happening here? The out greeting dot message variable getting its values based on the current date and time. That's it. I'm going to click on OK, and the output would now come to output greeting dot message. Now let's see what is the problem. If must end with, sorry, okay, I forgot. So here you have to end the if with end if and space if. Correct. Click on OK. The error is gone. Now the output comes to output greeting message. Now let's put a message box. And here write output greeting message. And let's see. Let me look at the watch. The current time is 10 p.m. now. I'm going to run the code. Okay, so you can see because it's 10 p.m. it said good evening. Okay, you can say good night. You can customize your message, but yeah, you can see the message has come. So with this, our exercise number 5 is complete.